Okay, we'll continue with the same chapter. This chapter is slightly lengthy, so we'll continue with the same chapter. We'll do some more problems and then start a new topic. Okay, write a question. A student has a student a student has two wires. A student has two wires, comma, by connecting them, by connecting them, by connecting them, by connecting them individually, by connecting them individually or combinedly, or combinedly, he can obtain resistances of he can obtain he can obtain resistances of 3 comma 4 comma 12 and 16 ohm and 16 ohm. Full stop. What are the resistance of the wires? What are the resistances of the wire? What are the resistances of the wires? What are the resistances of the wire? Okay, that is the question. Once again, I repeat, a student has two wires. By connecting them individually or combinedly, he has to obtain or he can obtain resistances of 3 ohm, comma 4 ohm, comma 12 and 16 ohm. What are the resistances of the two wires? The two wires which the student is using, what are the resistances of those two wires to either combine individually or combinedly he is getting this kind of resistances or he can obtain this kind of resistances. What are those two resistances values? So see the answer. This is slightly tricky one. Let the resistances be R1 and R2. I take the resistances R1 and R2, those two resistances. Okay, here we see the lowest resistance, how much he is obtaining 3, and the highest resistance, how much is obtaining 16. And we know lowest resistances is possible in parallel combination, and the highest resistance is possible only in the series combination. Because in series combination, the total resistance is more than the greatest, and in the parallel combination, less than the least. So we are using that technique. That means RP value we will take 3 ohm. Resistance for parallel combination is 3 and the highest value is resistance of the series combination is 16 ohm. So using these two, we'll find the value of R1 and R2. RP formula if I have to use, I'll be using the formula like this. 1 by RP is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. 1 by RP is 3. Here I write here 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. I'll mark this as equation 1. And resistance of series means R1 plus R2 is equal to 16. I'll make any one the subject of formulas. R2 value will become 16 minus R1. Mark equation 2. Now I will be solving the equation 1 and equation 2 to find the value of R1 and R2. So I'll put the value of R2 in the equation number 1. Putting the value of R2 from equation 2 in equation 1. So I'll put that value, right? 1 by 3 is equal to 1 by R1. I'll keep as it is. And R2 value I will be putting 16 minus R1. Now I'll be taking LCM and all. And we'll make one equation and solve the equation to find the value of R1. So R1 bracket 16 minus R1 I'll write here. This will come 16 minus R1 here plus R1. These two cancels. Then here we have 1 by 3 is equal to 16 divided by, I'll open bracket, 16 R1 minus R1 square. 48 is equal to 16 R1 minus R1 square. I'll get everything on one side, make one equation. R1 square minus 16 R1 plus 48 equal to 0. So we are having a quadratic equation. So that we will solve by middle term breaking and find the answers, two values of R1. 48 will break to get 16. It's breaking in 12 and 4. Will break in 12 and 4. R1 square minus 12 R1 minus 4 R1 plus 48 equal to 0. Middle term breaking. So R1 is common. Here you get R1 minus 12 minus 4 common. You get R1 minus 12 equal to 0. We will take common here R1 minus 12 and R1 minus 4 equal to 0. Therefore, we are having two answers, R1 is 12 or R1 is 4. Now, R1 we know, we'll put the corresponding value of R1 in equation 2 and find R2 value. That below this R2 value will come 16 minus 12. 16 minus 12, if I take 12, answer is coming 4. And out here, R2 value, when I take 4, it will come 16 minus 4, that means 12. So that means your answers are 12, 4 or 4, 12. So we can directly write answer now. Concluding answer. Hence, the resistance of the two wires are 4 ohm and 12 ohm. Hence, the resistances of the two wires are 4 ohm and 12 ohm. So that is the answer. Hence, the resistances of the two wires are 4 ohm and 12 ohm. That is it. I think you understood it. You can just think yourself, suppose 4 ohm and 12 ohm, when you put in parallel, your answer, when you're putting in parallel combination, answer will come 3, I'm sure. And when you just take it individually, the answer is 4 ohm, this answer is 12 ohm. Individually, the answer will come 4 and 12. And when you put in series, then 4 plus 12 will give the answer 16. So here in this question, the main trick or the main idea is the least resistance is possible in parallel and the highest resistance is possible in series. So that is the main idea here in this question. Okay, now take another question. In the following circuit diagram, in the following circuit diagram, comma, the power consumption in 100 ohm is 50 watt, comma, what will be the power consumption? What will be the power consumption in the resistance of 50 ohm? And they are showing a diagram here, figure. This is 100 ohm, this is 50 ohm. Okay, here the power consumption is given, power consumption out here is given 50 watt. You have to find power consumption here. How much is the power consumption here? Power consumption here is question mark. You have to find power consumption here, and this is given 200 volt. So this is 1 year ISC question. This question had come some year back in ISC, I think 2018. So how to do this? For this question, We will see what type of combinations these two resistances are. They are in parallel combinations. What is the formula of power consumption in parallel? You can write here for answer for parallel. This is the answer we are finding for parallel. For parallel, formula of power consumption is P equal to V square by R. Parallel time the formula is P equal to V square upon R. Here, what do we see? Voltage is same, that is 200 volt. So we will not bother that. We'll see P and R. How are they related to each other? They are directly proportional or inversely proportional. We'll see that. They are inversely proportional. So we write inverse ratio. Therefore, we write P1 by P2 is equal to R2 by R1. We write like this, ratio wise. So P1 value of power consumption in the first case, that is 100 ohm is given 50 watt, right? 50. P2 we have to find. R2 will take them, that is 50. And R1 value is 100. Then we'll find answer now. 50, 50 will go. So you get P2 value is coming 100 watt. So it is inversely proportional. So this question was carrying 2 marks only. So 2 marks is okay for this question. Hope you understood it. Okay, now next question. Question says, write down please. How would you arrange? How would you arrange 48 cells? How would you arrange 48? 48. How would you arrange 48 cells? 48 cells. Each of EMF 1.8 volt. Each of EMF 1.8 volt. 1.8 volt. And internal resistance 3 ohm. And internal resistance 3 ohm. So as to get strongest possible current. So as to get strongest possible current in a resistance of 36 36. If you go through the questions, we are given 48 cells, and question says how we have to connect. There are 48 cells given, and we are supposed to connect them in series and parallel combinations. How we can connect so that the current is strongest in the circuit? That means question is talking about the maximum current in the circuit. So right here, let n cells be divided into m rows. First we'll write this. If you remember last time we had done the derivation on this also. What is the condition for maximum current and how much is the value of current, that we had done it last time. You can write how many cells are given altogether, 48, right? Therefore, total number of cells is 48. We write here Mn is equal to 48. Equation 1. Total number of cells means n multiplied by m, and that is given 48. Second equation, for strongest current, you can write here for strongest, that is maximum current. If you can remember the condition, how and when we get the strongest possible current, we get R is equal to NR. Last time we had derived this condition. When MR equal to NR, we get the strongest or the maximum current in the circuit. So now I'm using that fact. Writing M, capital R means external resistance, which is given 36. And as it is, internal resistance is given 3. Let us cancel out 3, this will go 12. So you get 12 M is equal to N, equation number 2. We have to solve the two equations to find the value of M and N. So I'll put the value of N, substitute the value of N in equation 1. Putting the value of N, putting the value of N from equation 2 in equation 1. I'll keep M as it is into N value is 12M is equal to 48. This 12 and this I'll cancel 4 times. This become M square is equal to 4. Therefore, M is coming 2. I'll put the value of M back now here and get the value of N. That means 2N is equal to 48. This is from equation 1. From equation 1. Therefore, N value is coming 24. That is the answer. Now we'll conclude the answer now. We'll write the final comment. Hence 24 such cells in series are to be divided into two rows. Then we'll get the strongest possible current. Hope you understood it. Okay. Now one more question we'll do and then we'll start new topic. Okay, right. Right. When n, small n, identical cells of internal resistance r, small r, each are connected in series or in parallel with an external resistance R, capital R, with an external resistance R, gives same current. Stop. Find a relationship between R and R. Find a relationship between capital R and small r. Find a relationship between R and R. Okay, that is the question. I think this one should be easy. So we'll write here for series combination of n cells. I formula was like this: Ne by R plus Nr. If you remember it. If you don't remember, turn out the pages and go back and see. It is there. So I value is this much for series combination, and for parallel we write here for parallel. Again, I is Ne by Nr plus small r. This is equation number 2. The two currents are same, question says. So that's why I am keeping I and I same. Other, if they say one current is double of the other, I write here I1 and I2. Then write I1 is equal to 2I2, whatever way. They are saying giving same current. That's why these two are same. Therefore, from equation 1 and 2, we'll equate from equation 1 and equation 2. We will equate this part, right? Ne by R plus Nr is equal to Ne by Nr plus R. Ne and Ne cancelled. Here we get R plus Nr is equal to Nr plus R keep an R and R together, R minus NR is equal to R minus N small r. I'll take R common, you get 1 minus N. Small r common, you get 1 minus N. 1 minus N, 1 minus N cancels. We get R is equal to small r. So this is the relationship. When in series and parallel combination, when we get the same current, when number of cells are connected, then external resistance will be equal to the internal resistance of each cell. If they give the numerical value, like the internal resistance is 1 ohm, what should be the value of external resistance? That also will be the same. Same answer will add there, 1 ohm. Hope it is done and you understood. You can respond, one of you can respond. It's okay. Okay, thank you. Can I rub it? ठीक. Okay, okay. Okay now? Okay, now we are starting next topic, but of course of the same chapter. Okay. Uh, Now I'll talk about three type of instruments: galvanometer, ammeter, and voltmeter. First of all, we should know what is a galvanometer. We say a galvanometer is a device which detects the current or which determines the direction of current. That is galvanometer. Normally, a galvanometer does not measure current. It only detects and gives the direction of flow of current in a circuit. Normally, a galvanometer we show in the diagram like this. This way, a pointer we will show in the middle out there. This is galvanometer, and that we denote by G. This is galvanometer. When any current, there will be two terminals here, one side here, one side here. When current will flow, this pointer will show deflection. This will be in the beginning at 0 mark. So this will show either in the right side or in the left side. When the current flows this way, it will show the deflection in the right side. This flow is coming like this will be moving and this will go this side. But if the direction of flow of current is this way, so it will push the pointer this side. So it will go like this, the other side. So this thing you have to do actually in practical, but just have an idea only about this. The galvanometer is a device or an instrument which detects the current and it gives the direction of current. That is the only use of galvanometer. Now, what is an ammeter? Ammeter, in ammeter A will be written. It measures current. It is an instrument to measure current. It does not give the direction of the current, rather it measures current in ampere, and it is called ammeter. It will have two terminals here. The pointer will be in this will be like this at 0 mark, not at the center. It won't be at the center, it will be at the 0 mark. When current will flow, it will show the deflections there and will give the value of current directly. So pointer out here we will not show, it doesn't matter out here in this case. That is called ammeter. Here also it will have two terminals, one side positive, one side negative, we join. Here we have another one called voltmeter. Voltmeter. What is a voltmeter? We say voltmeter is an instrument which measures the voltage or the terminal voltage or we simply say potential difference across a resistance. Potential difference. It measures potential difference in terms of volts. Here also the pointer will be not at 0, not at the center, it will be somewhere here at 0 mark. Then it will start moving and give the deflection. and directly measures the value of voltage. But what voltage does it measure? It measures the terminal voltage or terminal potential difference only it measures. Okay. Now, any current measuring device or current related device, these two devices are current concerning, and this one is voltage concerning. So, any current related device is always connected in series, and they should have as low resistance as possible. They should not obstruct current. If they obstruct current, they cannot either detect the current or they cannot measure the current accurately. So, current related device, current concerning device should have as low resistance as possible, and they are to be always connected in series, because in series the current does not get distributed, current will remain the same. That is the idea behind. There is galvanometer. How do we connect in a series? In a circuit, always in series. Ammeter will be connecting in series, and they should have low resistance as low as possible. It is said that an ideal emitter should have zero resistance, but that is not possible. Having zero resistance is possible only with the superconductors, but they should have as low as possible. Galvanometer also should have low resistance, but practically it does not have very low resistance. It will have a resistance of something 5 ohm, 10 ohm, 20 ohm, like this kind of. They are low value only, but this kind of value it will have. And this will be always connected in parallel, in series, in a circuit. Okay, now about the voltmeter. Voltmeter does not have to measure current, it has to measure voltage. So it should be always connected in parallel, because in parallel the voltage remains the same across the ends. A voltmeter should be always connected in parallel, and a voltmeter should have high resistance, as high as possible. Voltmeter is the high resistance device, ammeter is a very low resistance device, and galvanometer is just a low resistance device. Always in parallel to be connected, these two are to be connected always in series. It is said that an ideal voltmeter should have infinitely high resistance, infinitely high. That means they should not consume any current itself. It should stop all the current flowing through itself, because actually it has to measure the potential difference across the resistance R. So it should not allow the current to be divided in the circuit. It should not consume any current. But that is not possible. Practically, there will be some current, small current flowing through the voltmeter. So that is the reason why voltmeter does not measure it accurately, but quite closely or approximately it can measure the voltage, terminal voltage. Hope you understood this part. Now, this thing, just a basic knowledge on that I gave. Now the topic which you have in ISC syllabus is this one, conversion of a galvanometer into number one, an ammeter. Okay, this is the topic we have in ISC syllabus. That means we are given a galvanometer, we have a galvanometer, and that galvanometer we want to change into ammeter. That means galvanometer now has to measure current. I'll draw a diagram for this. We are having a galvanometer here with the pointer in 0, and let us suppose the resistance of the galvanometer is G ohms. Resistance of this galvanometer is G ohm, initial resistance. What kind of value this G has? G has got low value of resistance, maybe 5 ohm, 10 ohm, but not very low. So This galvanometer gives full scale deflection, means maximum deflection it is giving with a current, say for example Ig. Current through the maximum current through the galvanometer is Ig. It is the full scale deflection it shows. Now the value of this Ig will be low. If high current will flow through it, it may even damage the coil of the galvanometer. The value of Ig is quite low. So galvanometer measures normally the low current, low magnitude current. It does not measure, rather it detects very low magnitude of current. Now we want to change into ammeter. We know ammeter should have very low resistance. This value is low, but not very low. How can we further lower it? We know the decreasing method of resistance is parallel. We can lower the value of a given resistance by connecting another low resistance in parallel with it. That is, the diagram will come like this. We have to use another low resistance in parallel to the galvanometer. Parallel. The low resistance which we connect in parallel to the galvanometer is called shunt, and we denote by the symbol S. S means shunt. S means shunt. What is a shunt? We say a shunt is a very low resistance resistor to be connected always in parallel with the galvanometer. What is the role of a shunt? A shunt prevents the damage of the galvanometer, or it prevents the burning of the coil of the galvanometer by passing maximum current through itself. Because its resistance is very low, so maximum current will pass through this one S rather than passing through the galvanometer G. So that is the whole idea about it. Then we can pass high current even through the galvanometer, and it will be allowing this high current even to flow. Now the entire setup will change into an ammeter, and it is measuring a current I or there like this. It will measure a current I. Here we write ammeter. Ammeter. You can write a reading I. Reading I. This reading I. This is the maximum reading of this ammeter can be recorded by this setup or this ammeter. So, in summary, how we convert a galvanometer into ammeter? To convert a galvanometer into an ammeter, we have to use a shunt. We have to use a shunt with the galvanometer. When we just use the word shunt, automatically its value will be low, and it will be automatically be connected in parallel with the galvanometer. So by using a shunt, a galvanometer changes into ammeter. We just say that. By using a shunt, further, you know the definition or the concept of shunt. What is a shunt? A shunt is a very low resistance wire or very low resistance resistor. And how it is always connected? It is always connected in parallel with the galvanometer. So by using a shunt, a galvanometer changes into an ammeter. And let us do the calculation for the value of this I. So how we can do the calculation here? Just see the total current I is coming here. Now it is divided into two parts. Ig will flow here, and I minus Ig will flow through the shunt. Total current is I. Out of that, there are two branches. One is here, one is out here in parallel. The currents are divided. So I minus Ig will flow through S. Then we see these two are in parallel. This one is also parallel. In parallel, voltage remains the same. Voltage across this will be the same. Voltage across all the, between the ends of the resistors will be the same. So making the voltage equal. What is the formula? Voltage I into R. Let us make I into R equal. I into the resistance equal. We'll write like this. Ig into G is equal to current I minus Ig into S. We'll write this. So this is the equation we will follow in this case. That means we'll use the voltage into R equal to I into R. We'll just make equal. Our equation is framed. Now, from the equation, if I is given that you have to measure, you have to convert into an ammeter of 10 ampere range. That is maximum current 10 ampere you want to measure. Of shunt, what value of shunt should be used for this purpose? We can calculate using this equation. Once again, if they say this ammeter has to measure current up to a range of 10 ampere, that means the maximum current you have to measure is 10 ampere. I value will put 10 here, other things value will be known. We can calculate and get the value of S. Or the value of S may be given out here, and they will ask you what maximum current this ammeter can read. That means we can calculate the value of I. But we will follow this equation, or this technique will apply. Shunt technique will apply to change a galvanometer into an ammeter, and we'll calculate unknowns over here. There will be some numerical problems based on this. I think you got the idea behind it. And one more thing to be noted here, we write here resistance of the approximate, we write like this, approx resistance of the ammeter will be equal to S. This point I just want to clarify, okay, you may not be clear with this point, what I have written here. Question may ask you, what is the total resistance of this ammeter so formed? Or what is the resistance of this ammeter? We know these two are in parallel, no? So parallel time we use the formula what? 1 by actual formula I will use, that is 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by G plus 1 by S. And we know that the value of Rp will come less than the least. I'm sure this is least because this has got a very, very low value. So your answer is supposed to come less than this, which already has a very, very low value. So your low value, when you calculate value of Rp, it will come very, very close to this value only. Total value. That's why we write total approximate resistance of the ammeter will be equal to S. That I can prove it by one example. Suppose the galvanometer of a resistance, galvanometer's resistance is 10 ohm. And the shunt which we are using is having value 0.001 ohm. Let us take the value of S is 0.001 ohm. And now I am going to calculate the value of Rp according to this relation or formula. So if you do it, then 1, 2, 3, 0 will come here. Your answer 1 by Rp will come, 1 by 10 will come, 0.1 plus 1000, 1 by Rp. If you add them, it becomes 1000.1. If you take Rp value, the value of Rp is coming 1 upon 1000.1. 1000.1 is, I'm sure, very, very close to 1000 only. So instead of this, we can add only 1000. And if I remove 30 and change in decimal form, answer will come 0.01 ohm or not. Let's see. That means your answer is same as the value of S, which we have over here. The value of total resistance is equal to this value, the approximate value. So what is the approximate resistance of the ammeter? That will be equal to the value of the shunt. Whatever is the, because shunt already has got a very, very low value. Your answer will come, actually your answer will come lesser than that, but lesser than that approximately will be equal to that value only. So this is a quite important concept. Hope you understood this part. Respond once, then we carry on next. Any response? Hello? Hello, hello? हाँ, क्या समझ में आ रहा है कि और लोग तो नहीं बोल रहा कुछ. सृष्टि ठीक है, समझ आ रहा है? क्लियर है ना सब? बाद में वीडियो भी देखने से होगा. ओके. Now the second one, conversion of a galvanometer into a voltmeter. Now we are changing into a voltmeter. I'll just draw the diagram for it. First, we are having a galvanometer, the resistance of which is G ohm, like the previous one, and it is giving full scale deflection with the current Ig. This is the maximum current of the galvanometer that is permissible to be passing through the galvanometer. Now we want to change this galvanometer into a voltmeter, and the idea voltmeter is a high resistance device. How can we increase the value of resistance? I think we increase the value of resistance by series combination. So we have to use a high resistance and put that resistance in series with this. Then the overall resistance becomes very high and the entire setup will behave as a voltmeter. So we'll be using a high resistance in series that we denote by R. Series resistance we call it R. We don't call it shunt, remember. As I told you about the shunt, what is a shunt? Shunt is a very low resistance wire or very low resistance resistors to be always connected in parallel. That is called shunt, but this is called series resistance. And the value of series resistance will be very high value. I'm just giving an example. Suppose the value of G is 10 ohm or 5 ohm, 10 ohm, that is the value of R will be 10,000 ohm. It may be 50,000 ohm. It may be 1 lakh. More the value of R, better the sensitivity of the voltmeter. The voltmeter is a better quality. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram we draw. The entire setup, the entire circuit will behave as a voltmeter. That we write here V. This one is behaving as a voltmeter now. And now will be this galvanometer resistance we have increased. So now this voltmeter can be used as a voltmeter. Now, what should be the reading of this voltmeter? Let us find out the reading now. This voltmeter reading will be that is maximum reading which can be recorded by this voltmeter. V is equal to, we know the formula, V is equal to IR. So we'll take the current. In series, the current flowing is same. So current is Ig. And the total resistance from here till here will take. That is series combination. What is the total resistance here? G plus R. Correct. This is the equation we are going to follow for this equation. V is equal to Ig bracket G plus R. Here also, if they give the value of V, if suppose you have to change into a galvanometer of 10 ohm, giving full scale deflection with some ampere current, they will say, and you want to change into a voltmeter which can read maximum voltage of 10 volt or voltmeter of range 10 volt. The value of V, we put 10 here and find the value of R. This R you calculate what should be the value of R. Or maybe the value of R is given and then you have to find the value of volt. What maximum volt can be recorded by this voltmeter? That you can do. Vice versa, you can do. And here also one important thing to be noted here, right on approx resistance. Approx resistance of the voltmeter equal to R. This point is similar to the previous one what I did. What is the resistance of the volt? Actual resistance of the voltmeter is supposed to be G plus R because they are in series. This R is having very high value as compared to G. Then when you add them together, your approximate answer will be equal to the value of R. Just giving one example, suppose G value is 10 ohm and the value of R is 50,000 ohm. Your actual answer is supposed to come 50,010 total answer. But 10 is nothing with respect to 50,000. If you do approximation, it is approximately equal to the value of R, that is 50,000. So approximate value of the resistance of ammeter case, approximate value is equal to S, and here the approximate value is equal to R. Whatever extra thing we are adding on there, no, so that is the only value of the approximate value of the resistances. If the question asks of the galvanometer and that of the ammeter and that of voltmeter. Hope you understood this. Say at least yes or no. Okay. Hmm? Okay, today we conclude our class. Okay, next day, that is tomorrow. You have, I think, schedule already is there. No, in the site only you have the schedule. So हाँ 4 बजे वही कल 4 बजे का. Oh, tomorrow's schedule I'll change then. I think I'll keep it at 5. You have at 5, no, tomorrow. So tomorrow timing will be 5 o'clock. I'll change that schedule. हाँ हाँ 5 बजे कर देगा. ठीक है 4 बजे क्लास 10 का भूल गया था वो. ओके 5 बजे कर देगा. ओके कल हम लोग क्या करेगा? We'll do some problems on this one. And then we'll start Kirchhoff's laws tomorrow. Thank you very much. And the the live recording, no, you will get after some time. It will come itself only in the same app. Okay, thank you.